Right, I'm gonna go through my sound setup again. So I'll start from the very basic stuff in the sounds program. Uh, Here we go. So playback with the wavelength system set up, and I'm gonna get that on the screen as well, because this is what I'm using, obviously. Just shrink that down so you can see that and that. Every time my computer boots, Wavelength will as well, because I'm using the Wavelength microphone, so that is controlling all my sound. I run it through here. I don't run it through any of this stuff. It's basically my hub. So that's what I want it to be. First thing I want this to default to, everything. I don't want it on speakers, headphones, nothing like that. I want it on my system. So that means anything that comes through on the computer that doesn't have something set like here, it will default to the system. So it will stay on the system setup. And then from the system, I can then move it to other things. The recording, I have that defaulted to the microphone effects. I'll go into that a little bit later. Outside of that, I have two monitor mixes. I have my monitor mix restrictions, my headphones. This is zero delay, zero input. You want this for anything, but like if you can get your plug in to your mic, if you're using wired headphones, which I thoroughly recommend, you plug that into the back of your mic and you'll hear everything through there. You don't need to put any other system through your headphones. If you've got like a Bluetooth pair of headphones or something, you could probably select that there as well, but it might give you a little bit of delay because it needs to be plugged into the mic for it to have zero delay. And I switched that down to 50 so it's not overpowering as well. My stream mix, I actually have this set to my echo, like for when I go to bed, but you would set that to like your speaker setup, whatever's coming through your speakers, and then or your TV. I don't like to use the TV though, because I like to hold on, I'm just gonna close Discord because I'm just getting beeps in my ear. So yeah, I don't like to use the TV because then you manually have to like turn it down on the TV and it's a bit more complicated. I have like an actual speaker setup. So what I do is if I'm like gaming and I'm streaming, I will like literally just turn off my speakers so it doesn't come through on both channels and start vibrating through the mic. But all you basically need to know is your monitor mix wants to be your headphones, your stream mix can be your speakers or your TV or whatever when you want it to come through a different channel other than your headphones. You can change up the style if you want though, but that's just how I have it set up. You want to make sure the green here is on the monitor mix because that's like the monitoring basically. Right, okay, so that's that done. Should I go through the mic settings now? I'll probably go through them one by one. I'll go through this. Right, so I put the input gain down to the minimum because this mic is really powerful in terms of picking up shit. It's like I don't know if it's a compressor microphone or a dynamic, I'm not sure what it's called, but it picks up everything basically. I put my output volume to the right and then my PC mic mix. I actually recommend putting that 50-50 because what that basically does is it will turn all of these things down. But if you put this to 100, I can't hear my mic. I can't hear my own voice. So I don't know how loud I'm talking. Whereas if I put that to 50, I can like hear myself over a game or anything that's playing. I put the clip guard and the wave gain lock on as well, but I do not turn on that enhanced low cut filter. You only want that on if you're like quite far away from the microphone, but if you're quite close to it, you don't need to worry about that. So that's all you need to set those to. I take this off my monitor mix because obviously when I'm talking, this is already controlling it. So if I were to turn that on and turn it up, my voice would be coming through twice, plus there would be a delay to it. So I turn that off. It comes through my speaker system purely because I use my voice through Discord. And like when I'm streaming stuff, it's all through this one input. So if I didn't have that on, my voice wouldn't come through on Discord when I was showing stuff. That's just my setup for that. Voice focus, that wants to be on, but turn it to the weakest. It just makes your voice like level out better. It's really good. The Elgato noise removal, this is an exceptionally good program. You just need to turn them to 0 because the more that turns up, yeah, it'll cut noise in the background, but it'll sound like you're in a tin can. So I just put that to the lowest amount. The next is my speechy settings, which I will go through. Obviously, speech is a paid program. So I have my in as 5 for both. I always put the aggressive compressor and leave it at 50. It's a real-time quality because I'm using that mic in real time. I turn the tone booster up. I add a 5 to the bass and the low cut to 40. And then a limiter of -3. The gate is 100% powerful. Like, I push the gate to the maximum. But it means my voice is always going through that. So if there's little noises in the background or sniffs or burps or whatever the hell, it's less likely to come through on that gate. But as I say, this microphone will still pick up absolutely anything and everything. So you want to lighten it so much. Like I have a different setup to most people. I'm in quite a small enclosed room, so I know a lot of people's mics, they don't have to worry about the noise like bouncing off the walls and stuff, but for me, I need to kind of negate it as much as possible. Plus I always have fans on as well, so I don't want them to come through too much. Marvel GEQ, this is another great program. I preset this to brighter and bassier, activate, never touch it again. Perfect, just adds a little bit more bass to my voice. Right, so these are my programs that I've got. A game capture is obviously my HD60X, so it's going through there. I put that at 60, so if I'm listening to music or if I'm watching stuff on the browser, or if there's alerts or sound from StreamAbot, OBS, things going off, or somebody speaking on voice chat, all of this stuff is going above this so I can hear it, if you know what I mean. So this just means it makes it, I can hear it basically. These two you don't really need to worry about. I'm actually routing these through my laptop so I can send my OBS stuff to my laptop to stream on there, so it takes off CPU and GPU usage. Don't need to worry about that. That's a more complicated setup. I know some people would use the aux one for like TTS or other things, but again, it's just a channel you point it to, then you switch it up. But basically what you need to know is this is like how I'm hearing things through my headphones and how I'm hearing things through my speakers. These two bars are one for each, you know? So if I'm listening to something as well and the music's not loud enough, but I don't want the quality on the Discord call or through my speakers to change, I would just move this down or move it up. So yeah, that's pretty straightforward in that. So that's my setups for Wavelink. Now I'll boot up my OBS. I think I need to actually route this on so it's not hiding the capture though, because otherwise you won't be able to see it and that would be no good. This does mean I'm going to have to switch over to the stream to kind of show them, unless I can open up another window. Maybe I can open up another window. That would be useful, actually. I need to try and open up the window, launch anyway. Thinking about it. I might need to download like a portable version here because I don't think it likes it. Maybe because I'm recording on it. Okay, well, what I'll do is I'll stop the video here and then I'll get this set up so I'm not like messing around to try to... Basically, all I'm trying to do here is actually show my OBS screen, but because I'm recording through this, it's not gonna allow me to boot up another one, so I need like a different setup. So I'll be back in like, well, that could be back for hours, days, months, you'll never know. But I'll upload the next video after this. Okay, so this is the next part of the video, and now I'm gonna go through my actual OBS settings for this. I'm showing the display capture, and I'm not turning this on because it should just duplicate and be distracting, so I'm turning that off. This display capture is basically just there so I can kind of show off the footage. Anyway, so the first one is ambient audio. That is just like a playlist, and this is putting some background music on in the background. Nothing much to say about that. Shuffling the playlist, that ambient audio is a -25, so it's not too overpowering, but it just gives it a little bit of nice background noise if there's nothing going on, you know, if there's a silent game or something. Got one for the VOD audio as well, but you don't really worry about that. That's just because it's going through 2 different channels. Because one of them, I have this compressed by everything. This means if the game is like making noise, it's gonna drop the volume of that. If I'm playing music, it's gonna drop the volume. If I'm watching something on browser, drop the volume. Sound effect plays, drops the volume. And that's just audio monitoring, which is a specific plugin, but just puts it so I can stream it to my other laptop, which is taking the footage. Again, you don't really need to worry about that. The only thing you need to know about the ambient audio is the compressors are taking the noise out once something's going. But if there's no game noise, if I'm not running any of these, bam, the ambient audio comes back in. It's just a nice little touch I like. Right, the Elgato live audio. I'm not going to focus on the VOD one so much because you don't need to worry about them too much. I basically just have these set up so if on the live one, sound effects play and go off, but in the VOD they don't come through, because if you're watching a VOD, you don't want sound alerts and thanks for the sub kind of things going off, because you don't care. You're watching a VOD at that point. You're not actually in the live experience. But I digress. So Elgato Live, this is compressors as well. So the compressors work by like dimming the sound. So a lot of people don't use this. Some people will just be like, okay, I want to put my game audio down to like this amount of volume, and my voice always comes through on that, so they don't have to mess around with it. But I find like a lot of games, depending on what you play in PC through a capture, they're all going to have like varying volumes, and you're always going to be messing around with that, or people are going to say, oh, the game's too loud, the game's too quiet. Just to knock all of that shit off and nip it in the bud, I have a compressor where it's limited, so it's never going to go into the red anyway, but it means once I speak, it drops the volume of the game anyway, and it's got that attack release in there, so it doesn't like it's not too distracting. It does it well. Like if you've watched my stream, you'll know what I mean by that. Same with the PC, same with the sound effects. Somebody like cheers or something goes off, it drops the volume of the game. But that's why I have the VOD version, because in the live version it'll do that. In the VOD it won't do that. Yeah, that's it. I always stick a limiter on these as well, just so they never like peak. You know, it's a good idea to put limiters on stuff generally. Yeah, so the Elgato Live Audio, that is obviously my game capture device, because anything I play is going through either my gaming PC or my PS5 or something, so everything is going through that specifically. The live track, that's something you don't need to worry about. The mic live audio, that's using microphone FX. Okay, both of them are using that. Has a couple of features for my big boy and small boy, deep and lighter voice, but other than that, don't need to worry about it. Pretty straightforward. All the effects through here means I don't have to mess around with OBS's stuff. Another thing I would say as well, just to clean up your audio stuff as well, because I forgot to mention this, go to your audio settings, disable all these, turn them off. You don't need them. Just add the sources in yourself and just kind of try and clean them up. Like if you've got stuff all over the place, it's just going to get too complicated. I've got my background noise, I've got my game, I've got my mic, and then now we're going to go into the slightly more complicated ones, but again, not too much. This is my music, so this is pointing to wavelength music, obviously. And this also has a bunch of compressors for my mic if I'm speaking, if something's playing on the browser, sound effect, voice chat, blah, blah, blah. It's going to quieten the music. But yeah, that's basically, it would be just be a case of if you wanted something for your music, say your iTunes, your Spotify, even your browser, whatever the hell, you stick it in here. And then obviously once you're running the source through, like if say you're playing Spotify, it's going to come through there. Again, this is another reason why I use VOD channels, because my music, I don't want to come through on a VOD, so that's only on channel 1. So that's one of the main reasons I'm using 2 of these. PC audio, that is my browser audio. So this one is probably a good point to mention, like, okay, what if I'm playing a game, but I'm not taking it through the capture card, I'm playing it on the same thing as my OBS is recording from. PC audio, or you could rename it game audio, whatever. Like, for example, in my Wavelink, I'm putting that through game because I'm transferring that over to my laptop. But you could totally just move all of your games into here. The only issue with that being, though, is every time you load a new game, because you've defaulted to the system, it's going to go in the system file. So theoretically, what you could also do is put your Wavelink system through here. So select Wavelink system. That way, you don't have to constantly move your games over from the system to the game thing. But the danger in that is you do want to turn off, like, you know, like Windows sounds. Let me see if I can show you how to do that as well. So, for the sound settings, I'll show it through here. App volume and device preferences. My system sounds is turned down to 0. Or if there's anything else in your system files, your default, you can just move that out of it so it's going through a different channel. And ideally one that is not in OBS. So in that case, it's not actually gonna come through. You know what I mean? So yeah, the PC audio, I use that for my actual browser. If I'm watching something on the through the browser, I want that to negate the game audio, blah blah blah. But you could also use that as an example for how to put your game through, like an Elgato device. These settings you would use pretty much the same, or if you were using something that is on the same computer as your OBS. But for example, mine are a little bit different because they're built into my system. But you would want to basically use your Elgato Live settings or your PC game settings. Make sure the DB is good. Also, I do need to mention this setup, okay? It's okay to tickle the red sometimes, but you don't want it peaking up here. Never. You want everything to aim for yellow. Yellow is the point you want to hit. You don't want it to be down here. You don't generally, like, this is fine to be down here because this is like the ambient audio. So the ambient audio, I never want to be up there because I'm speaking. So I want the ambient audio just to be very light in the background. But generally, you want things to aim for the yellow. You don't want it to be peaking the red. If it's something subtle, you want it in the green. But generally, yeah, you want everything in the yellow there. My sound effects audio, so that's going through Wavelink sound effects. That's my streamer bot stuff, which I'll move to. Again, this just has some slight compressor just to even out the noise, because generally a lot of your sound stuff through streaming bot will be at different volumes, different clips, blah, blah, blah. So I just compress it and make it all kind of the same level. My mic and the voice chat will make the sound, so I'll speak over them basically. So like if a raid comes in, I'm like, hey, thanks for that. You know, the raid whatever alert is not overpowering me. So yeah, that's that. VOD track, don't need to go into. Voice chat, that is basically exactly the same as my mic setup. This is if I have somebody on a Discord call and we're doing a stream, that's there. Minus 2.5, CMDB, which I'll also go into. Yeah, the dB things. So my voice, I just want to lower it a little bit. So I put that at minus 25 dB. So you put that through here. I lock all of these as well, but you can unlock them and move them a little bit because I'm like massively OCD, I need things to be clean and correct. So I'll lock that at minus 25 dB and I can change my volumes in here. You can also tick that button and then change the volumes, but I like to just do it by dB. It works for me. So minus 2.5 dBs for the mic and the voice chart. PC, sound effects, things like that, I put them at minus 5 dB. And then things that could be potentially really overpowering, like music in the game, I put that at minus 10. And then anything that I just want to be subtle, like a subtle noise in the background, minus 25. That's generally a good setup for that. My advanced audio properties, I should kind of go through that as well. The only thing I think I've got synced offset at the moment is my mic for my VTube Studio model, because it's a little bit off, so, but you don't really need to do that. You don't want to monitor anything in here. You really don't. Like, the only thing I think I have monitored is my intro noise, because that's playing from a playlist. But I put that through a separate audio monitoring thing. But generally, you don't want you to be monitoring, because the only thing you'd be monitoring is anything from OBS, and all of your sounds and things like that, they're coming through here. Like, the sound effects would be coming through here, so I can hear that on my mic. Sorry, on my headphones. Won't go through the speaker. See what I mean? But yeah, that's how those are set up. You can have like your TTS and your sound effects to be split apart, so I'll kind of go into that now. I don't use TTS. Just be honest with it. Where is my okay, streamer bot. First thing you want to do, platform accounts, make sure you're logged in or all that stuff. Otherwise, anything that goes through the channel, it's not going to come through correctly. Also settings, general, pointing that to wavelength sound effects channel. And you want that to default there, because a lot of your stuff here, I have specific things which I want to go through a different channel. But let's see. I've got a sound here somewhere. Like this sound. I'm playing this sound at 50%. Put them at application default unless you really don't want it coming through that channel. Reason being, StreamBot loves to do updates, and if I put this manually wavelength SFX, it's not going to know what that is at if me wavelength or me StreamerBot updates, so it's going to default and it's not going to work. So you want it to default, because once it's at default, it's fine, and then if it's not coming through, you can just be like, okay, settings general, it's pointing to wavelengths, sound effects. I can see on here that it's actually going through the channel as well. There we go. So yeah, that's basically straightforward on that. My speaker bot is going through system, I think, because I just want that to kind of, I want to be able to hear it. I don't want it to come through on stream anymore. So this is just like going through wavelength system so I can hear that. Let me test these sounds as well so you can actually hear them. I'm going to have to turn on my sound effects audio. Just the reason I have these turned off, it's because like when I switch to certain scenes, I go to my outro, my intro, they turn off automatically. Not going to go into those too much because, you know, it's too complicated. You don't need to know about that. So yeah, let me just like play a test sound. So if I play this sound, it should come through. Test trigger.
Nice shot!
So it goes through like that. Let me play it again, and this time I'm going to talk through it. So if I continually talk through it, you can see that the volume on it is quieter. But if I just let it fire normally,
nice shot!
Comes through at its correct volume. The TTS stuff I can't really show off because I don't have it going through here. As I say, I want to hear the TTS. I don't want it coming through on that channel. So that's a case where it defaults to wavelength system, and it's good to go. I think that's everything. I don't think there's anything else I kind of need to go through and explain, but generally the things that I would just say is try not to like, my setup is quite complicated because I've been working with it for a while, but try not to overcomplicate things. You don't want that many sources in this. You want, like, most people won't use an ambient source, so you can forget about that. You'll want your Elgato capture device if you're capturing through stuff. On top of that, you'll want like a game audio. You'll want your mic, And if you want to use it, you've got your sound effects and your voice chat. So you should be like looking at a maximum of like 5 audio mixes that's going through. And what I would also suggest is put all of your audio stuff in one scene. So these are all in my audio tab. And then if I switch over to live main, for example, yeah, they're in my live channel. So rather than me have like the complete thing just full of things and me trying to like find out, okay, what do I need to find? I have them all like sorted in their own little scenes. So if there's an audio issue, I know where to go. The display issue, I know where to go. Yeah, hopefully that makes sense. That's pretty much, I think I've covered everything. But if there's any questions, let me know.